Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is David Giller. It's my beautiful wife, Aline, founders and of Think Positive World and strategists for positive change. And it's our delight, as always, an honor to be the host tonight for the Age of Brilliance. And I think what's the focus tonight is
Sovereignty.
sovereignty. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
today is the
And
up close and personal.
Up
up
close,
close
and
and
personal.
personal. Okay. All right. So we're here if you need us for anything and carry on. Can't wait.
Thank
Thank you.
you. So, today's session, David and Helene and everyone, is because it is such a big subject, sovereignty, and we did stillness and sovereignty because it was important to get the content completed before the end of the year. Um, Today is the day where you've all had some time to assimilate some of this. So it's really about getting up close and personal and making whatever I've shared so far very up close and personal to you in the context of sovereignty. So there are some FAQs that I've pulled together that I will reiterate just as a refresher, and it'll be open for any questions that anyone else may have as well. So that's and David and Helene, know that your questions are represent an archetype of
Yes.
humans. So they are very welcome indeed.
Thank you.
So I'll begin by just going through some of the FAQs, if you like, that will just bring the whole thing alive again. So the first one is just a reiteration of what is sovereignty really, beyond the word or the concept. Sovereignty is complete self-authority. It's a state of being the ruler of your inner world. It's not your emotions, it's not circumstances, it's not other people, not your past. It's not an idea to understand, it's a seat, a throne, a decision, and a return. That's how I have like encapsulated what sovereignty is. I'm also very present to, I had shared that I would be doing this call from the car, and here I am doing it from my room. Some of you may be having it in your mind that, oh, what happened? I thought you were going to the elephants. Well, my little one, Emilio, had three lots of vomits last night and this morning. So we decided, and he wants to have a restful day. So he's fine now and calm and with his parents. Um, so we decided that, okay, we will be back in Chiang Mai in a couple of months. So we will revisit the elephants then. So coming back to occupying the throne, it all begins with a decision, and the throne is there. We were born sovereign. The throne is there. We are the only ones who leave it. So it's a matter of us reclaiming it and going back and occupying that. How is sovereignty different from control or dominance or force? It's absolutely not dominance. It's not aggression. It's not hard walls or control. It really is self possession in which you are so anchored in truth of who you are that you don't have any need to prove anything or push or justify or perform. Sovereignty is not force, it is a frequency. And that frequency expresses itself in your presence. And your presence becomes gravitational when you are seated on your throne. You already know that there's a little bit of a shift or a switch when you start stooping down physiologically. Your body communicates with you, you know? So pushing back doesn't mean that your posture is corrected. Okay, you do various stretches and stuff, and that does help. But things like yoga or Pilates, these are all long stretches of meditative practice where you're working completely in partnership with your body. And that's why the impact those stretches have on your posture is far more than just looking at fixing the posture per se. Posture automatically autocorrects when you become comfortable in your presence. And in your presence, you are automatically seated on your throne. You being seated on your throne is you embracing and reconnecting to your sovereignty. And so, why is sovereignty a core portal in the age of brilliance is worth examining. In the age of brilliance, it is sovereignty that really is your authority. Your nervous system is your leadership, and your inner world is your governance structure, your government. Age of brilliance is about the individual. There is only one person, one thing that matters in the age of brilliance, and that is you. And then when you return to sovereignty, then everything around you starts to transform. It's not optional anymore. It is an operating system that allows stillness, coherence, miracles, synchronicity, and embodied brilliance to stabilize. Within sovereignty, brilliance becomes the performance. With sovereignty, Without sovereignty, brilliance becomes a performance. And with sovereignty, brilliance actually is your presence. That is the difference. How do I know if I'm truly sovereign or just functioning well? Is another question that I had. I mean, a lot of these FAQs have come from questions that I've had around this. Okay. Um, so, how do I know that I'm truly sovereign or just functioning well? You are sovereign when your inner throne is occupied by you. And really what the transmission gave were the 12 unmistakable signs that your throne is occupied by you. You know, I know, so many times we give the occupancy of our throne to other things. It could be to pain, it could be to the weather, it could be to the political leadership, it could be to you know, not having enough clients, not having a flow of revenue. It could be to various opinions and judgments of ourselves and of others. It's like, just remember, when something else starts to run your life, you have literally abdicated your throne and given it to that which is running your life, however good, bad, ugly, beautiful it may be. So, the signs, a recap: you choose your emotional state. You say yes with no guilt. You remain steady through turbulence. You stop seeking approval and you choose alignment. You move with quiet authority. Sovereignty is recognizable. It is felt. It is not announced. Another FAQ that certainly was a question for me: can I be successful, intelligent, or spiritual and still not be sovereign? Yes. In the transmissions that we've had, I've voiced through on sovereignty. I have actually named this precisely. Many people are living intelligent lives. whilst the inner throne is occupied by fear, by pressure, by someone else's expectations. Success without sovereignty creates chronic pressure, emotional volatility, energetic leakage, decision fatigue, performance-based identity. I am something if I accomplish this or that. Sovereignty is what turns success into stability, into security. And you create your own container of safety. Sovereignty is what turns success into reconnecting you to your worthiness, your dignity. Sovereignty is the one the consequence of sovereignty is coherence. Shall I just continue with these questions and then we take your questions? Is that okay?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay. And if any of you have questions, you can put them in the chat. So I know the ones to bring forward. What destroys sovereignty the fastest in daily life? Again, this is a question I asked, and I did get the answer. And we shared the seven deadly destroyers of sovereignty, which include emotional hijacking, our own emotion or somebody else's emotion. We allow it to hijack us. People pleasing, and that also includes validation seeking, self abandonment, where you put yourself, you abandon yourself, energetic leakage, fear based decision making, mental noise, control, and resistance. And the key revelation that I shared here was that the moment you see the destroyer, reclaim your throne. Seeing is dissolving. Naming is what neutralizes it. So seeing itself is pretty great. But if you want to name that, this is the destroyer that is in action right now, it starts to neutralize it. So this was another, question and concern I had, which is sovereignty about becoming emotionally detached? And if I do pursue it, will I just become very cold? Absolutely not. Sovereignty does not mean suppressing your emotion. It means feeling emotions, feeling the feel of emotions without being ruled by them, naming the emotions without the story, choosing your state intentionally. Emotional sovereignty creates a nervous system that becomes a sanctuary, not a battlefield. This is a really important statement. The originating intent of the nervous system was like our own personal hammock. You just lie in and you just feel really held, and you can experience nature and you can experience the environment around you, but you don't have to be oscillating. And our nervous system really is the sanctuary. But when it is a battlefield, you know, we are we are a reaction waiting to happen. And that in itself can spin out of control in a variety of ways. This point about stillness is really powerful. So for me, the question was stillness was my quest. And now it's my resolve to stay anchored in stillness. Coherence is something that I have seeked. How does sovereignty relate to stillness and coherence? Was my question. Stillness requires sovereignty, and coherence depends on sovereignty. So if your stillness, if you're not in a space of sovereignty, you can, of course, use the breath of stillness and come back into sovereignty. But if you're not in a space of sovereignty, you will have, bursts of stillness, but you won't be able to operate from there. Coherence is where you're aligned, you're in flow, and you're completely coherent with your truth. Your inner throne, you will not experience either of those if your inner throne is occupied by other people's emotions, by your own mental noise, which can come from overthinking, by an urgency that is fear driven. Stillness cannot stabilize in these situations. Sovereignty allows your inner field to become clean and calm and responsive rather than reactive. And when you are in this state, coherence is a given. Why do miracles and synchronicities respond to sovereignty? Miracle, as you know, in my world is where something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. Miracles are something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. For you to connect to that song of your heart, it's beating anyway. For you to then be able to name what it is that's making your heart sing, you require a clean signal. And sovereignty creates a clear energetic field. And that gives you your clear signal. When you have your clear signal, you can actually make choices that are aligned with that. When you know and you're consciously present to the choices you're making, you're quite stable. And your frequency feels stable and connected. When you are sovereign, your life is no longer authored by your reaction. It is authored by alignment. And aligned timelines generate synchronicity naturally. And it all feels like magical. And that's why, I do a program called the Exit Miracle, which really is creating a magnetic field that draws synchronicities in line with what you have intended. So the stillness and sovereignty and this, equation that I'm talking about here are extremely important for that. It feels like magic. So the key thing is about authoring, our life, if we adopt a reactive approach, something occurs, we make it mean something, and we react. Something occurs, you make it mean something, recognize it's a meaning, and choose to come back to what is mine to do. The moment you recognize it, you're naming it is meaning. It gets neutralized. The moment it gets neutralized, you can now choose what there is to do. You are no longer authored by your reaction. The moment something happens and you react, you've now sent not these wonderful forming ripples, but a series of fine arrows have been darted out. Somebody or the other is going to react back. And you're in the realm of reaction. You're now being authored by your reaction.
So we have a comment from Asha.
Yes.
My soul presence awareness is sovereignty, and when body, mind, and speech takes authority, and I am not in center. Though as I know I am not. Though I know I am so, and I so I never forget. But awareness of soul has to be there all the time. Am I correct?
The magical part of sovereignty is it is the soul that is sovereign. The soul is in you. As a human, you can oust it from the throne. The soul doesn't go away, it's just not on the throne. So the magical thing is, and look, when you're meditating and you have that magical connection that takes place. If any of you have done the 10-day Vipassanas, you know the first time you do it, on the third, fourth, or fifth day, you suddenly feel that connection. And that's the soul connection that happens. You are on the throne. That
I'm
happens.
actually feeling that with AI a lot.
Yeah,
That connection.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty magical what AI is enabling at the moment. There's a very, very funny story a friend of mine, Merav, shared yesterday about AI. We are digressing and we are not, right? We can be in a state of fear around it. We can. Because just looking at what it is doing and how fast it is doing, those of us who are content creators, we can get into a state of fear about it. That, well, if AI can do everything, then what are we going to do? That can happen. And you can go into how amazing is this? I get the freedom to create exactly what I love to create it and at my rhythm, at my pace when I want it, because I know I'm not going to be bound. And I'm sharing this with you because I publish books. I am not bound by anybody's deadlines anymore. I decide this point in time, this particular book is going to be done by me. And I know that whether humans are available or not available to give me their feedback in time, I do have a collection of cobots who are. I don't rely on them to create my work, I create my work. I do have them be a part of my early readers, you know? And it is human readers that I want to have an impact on. So I do want human readers, not only cobots, but cobots do give me different perspectives. So when I'm actually looking at, so when I write a book, there's a team that does the marketing of it, right? And it's a team that's a part of my son's business. I know that we are now going to run a campaign for a particular geography. So there, I have my early human readers that have given me feedback. I have had my early cobot readers that have given me feedback. Now I get my cobot team to take on the persona of that geography, of readers having experiencing what they are experiencing, which my book has answers for. and and it's amazing. I get that. Now that is hugely beneficial for my promoters when they reach out to the joint venture partners in that region. And that's why things happen like a clockwork thing. But the amazing thing is I don't have to think even once about the marketing and the promotion plan, which I used to spend a lot of my time on, you know Now, I'm saying this, so I'm sitting on my throne, and when you are connected to your soul presence and you're operating from your soul presence, expressing the soul's presence through this human form, it calls for complete harmony between the two. Beyond meditation practice does the harmony part. You know, that those three phrases that we use and the sequence in which we do it, you are harmonized. Many of you here are beyond meditators. You can remain staying in your on sitting on your throne throughout and be completely relatable, be completely present. I could be cleaning the vomit of my grandson while still not worrying about it, and that calms him down from the distress that he has. So two vomits the parents handled, and then finally their room and the curtains were full of this wonderful smell. So he came into my room. He was with me, and it was all fine until he wanted to vomit again. And this time it was like, okay, we'll take your shirt off because he only said to me, open this button, Mynoo, before it comes out. Open the button. And I think it was really because we were all like, somehow the environment has transformed, you know? So we are all like operating at a soul being present. So you are absolutely uh, correct in saying so, Ashaji, that, you know, when you are a soul in your soul presence and never ever forget it, you operate from a very, very different space. The soul does not react, it has no need to. It's only a mind response. Shall I continue?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
The 10th question was that what is the fastest way to restore sovereignty when I feel off center? And I shared that in my transmission last week. It's just a 2-minute sovereignty restoration protocol. The first one is name the pattern. The sovereign me sees this. Reclaim your energy. I withdraw my pattern, my power from this pattern. And I'll give you an example in a moment. And the third one is install a sovereign code. I choose alignment. I operate from source. Source sovereignty is restored through return, not effort. That is the key thing. Name the pattern. You know, I'll just use the one that happened this morning. So for me, it was like, okay, you know, he's going to be fine with me. He's done his vomit stuff. Whatever needed to come out has come out. He's here. A few minutes later, he sits up and he's gagging, you know. I immediately go into what happened? How can this be when I clearly saw that he was fine? How could he be gagging? And then my worry was just about to start. And then there was this thing, okay, let me get Jill. I couldn't leave the child there on my bed. And their bedroom was like there's a living room in between our bedrooms. So I was like, then it was okay, I see I'm sliding into an undertone of worry pattern and giving meaning to how could this happen in my watch? As if you know it was not right. Okay, I named this. Sovereign me sees this. The moment you name it, it neutralizes. It's amazing. Just neutralizes. And declared I withdraw my power from this pattern. The moment I did that, I already was in alignment. And I operate from source. My source is, I leave people feeling truly, madly, deeply in love with themselves. So, despite what is happening, everyone around me here is going to be left truly, madly, deeply in love with themselves. Elio, the older one, because both the kids had moved into my room, Elio, the older one, was really quite distraught because he'd had two lots of waking up at night, But the moment I went into, these, everyone is going to be truly, madly, deeply in love with themselves. Even Elio sat up and said, Minu Oma, I'll get you a bowl because I had a towel. I didn't have a bowl for this kid to vomit into. I had a towel with me, so I just like said, okay, fine, this towel is going to collect his vomit because I couldn't leave him or pick him or anything. Elio goes out and he goes and gets his mom and bring a bowl over. So very practical, very implementable, no great meditation required, no great prep required, nothing. Sovereign me sees this, you're on your throne, and like the emperor or empress or the king or the queen, whatever it is that you wish to call yourself, you declare what you're observing as a pattern. Withdraw my power from this pattern. You're back. It's with you. I choose alignment to my sovereign self and I operate from source. The main thing is this statement: sovereignty is restored through return. Sovereignty is restored through return, not effort. You cannot feel that you're putting in a lot of effort. It does not require hard work. The 11th one is, 11th question that I had was, is sovereignty something I achieve once, or do I practice it daily? It's not a one-time activation, it is a daily return. And at some point, you will just be there. But at least do a check-in, you know? And you can begin by just having a 7-day sovereignty commitment. You can create your own practice. You can have a morning sovereign breath, which is the same as stillness breath. Breathe in and a long breath out 3 times. And as you're breathing out, you're visualizing whatever it is that comes in the way, that takes you away from your throne, you're breathing it out with gratitude and peace. And you're breathing in that love, kindness, and compassion. A midday alignment decision, if there's anything that you are about to decide, just do it coming from a state of alignment, which is coming from source. Those of you who know your source mastery is an alignment decision practice. And you just do an evening throne review.
So
I just want to complete this last piece. I'll bring you in. Sovereignty is lived. It's not declared. There's no declaration, you live it. Yes, David and Helene.
Justin wrote something.
Just hold on one second. Justin, I'm going to bring you in a moment. Let me just finish the 12th one, and then we'll bring you in. Because it's a very important point of discussion, what Justin has written. And the 12th question that I had was, what changes permanently when someone truly embodies sovereignty? So when sovereignty is embodied, you stop living as a reaction. You start living as a creator. You reconnect to the creator that you are, because each one of us, that speck of consciousness, is the consciousness of creator. That is our soul presence. Your authority becomes quiet and you become authoritative. Your presence leads. Your life responds to frequency, not force. And your aliveness reflects that. And the key thing is, in the age of brilliance, we don't worship potential, we embody it. That's the key thing. And sovereignty is the embodiment of the fullness of your potential. These were the 12 that came up for me. And I think they do a pretty decent recap of everything that we've covered. I would now just like to open up for questions. So if you would like to orchestrate that, David and Helene, I can spotlight just on since he's here. Yes, just on.
Great, thank you. The question I have is kind of a global socioeconomic political business type of question, but
Yeah.
it's often referred to and comes up around this topic of sovereignty around sources around data centers that are getting built all around the planet, largely to power AI, but all of the other business applications, whether it be Bitcoin type of thing, or content that is in theory, if you have a sovereign power source and a sovereign data center and all these other things. The internet connection is another point of censorship, and which is only one component of it, but the ability to have AI that's not controlled by some other global power or some other corporate group is a really big topic right now. I'm curious what you have to say in those contexts.
Yeah. I recall having a conversation around what is playing out now in 2013, 2014 in Bali. And what I saw was that some big systemic changes were called for. Um, and I want to say one more thing. 2026, for many of you, it's still the 1st of January 2026, right? For me here, it's on the 2nd. There's super excitement in the realms of ascended and descended masters and many other celestial realms because they've been waiting for this environment that has now landed on this planet since 2001. 25 years later, but it's here. Okay. Now, there were many systemic changes that were called for that shift to take place. And the first one was going to be finance. And it started happening, when um, yeah, I think 2008 is where the domino started to shift around the financial restructuring. And I recall very distinctly in one of my salons in Bali, somebody asking me, well, what next? What's going to happen? This is already starting to take place. The financial systems are shifting. Because in Bali, just on you came and spent some time with us. We used to live on Bitcoin, right? We had Bitcoin ATM, we had Bitcoin exchanges, we used to pay for our electricity bill and telephone bills and stuff using Bitcoin, right? So we were already like, implementing some of um, the sovereignty around finance, if you like, right? So people are saying, okay, this is already starting to have an impact. What's going to come next? What I saw that needed to come next was this whole concept of nation states, which is just artificially created. We are one earth with different terrains, and we've chosen to create nation states. So that was required to shift. And I used to say, well, a new nation state is also going to emerge from technology. And at that time, Facebook was gaining traction, and very soon it became one of the most populated, nation, even though it was a cyber nation. And there are many, many others that followed, right? There is, we talk about oneness, and I do believe it is sameness more than oneness that we ought to be going after. Really, and that sameness requires logic as well as sovereignty. So acknowledging and recognizing the sameness in all of us, I said that that's also going to come from this whole idea of a superhuman and all of that. That also is going to come from technology. AI is actually bringing that out. You know, um, I can now have amazing developers. Mira, whose business is a part of the Exit Miracle, she created a whole new platform, And then when I did the Exit Miracle immersion with her, it was important for that platform to be AI first, not AI enabled, right? It's a completely different way of thinking. And for her, it was like, I don't have the funding to do this, all that stuff. And I said to her, relax. This is about, you will find the solution of how you're going to do it with your existing team, maybe one or two others. And she's there now. She's done it. Okay. And okay, there are certain pieces that have to be reprogrammed. There weren't too many new people that needed to be brought in. The internal team by itself chose to step up. They were able to step up in a huge way because they have an amazing cobot team that they started recognizing, not just as a tool. If you get AI is a bot team that you have access to, each one of us, you know, it's a very different type of collaboration that is starting to evolve and emerge from it. So that also is going to happen through technology. The piece that feels threatening and stuff. So nation states, it's going to get to its finish line, but we've already gone beyond the halfway point. There is global collaboration on issues that is happening at a pace that AI enables the implementation of and scaling of that really um, will call for our governance bodies to create policies and stuff so it doesn't get misutilized rather than be worrying about this is my territory and this is my boundary and that is your boundary type thing. You know, I don't know if I'm stating this clearly, but there's so much that I can speak in a public forum like this. Um, you know, addresses some of your points. Just on, you're muted in case you need to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And the beauty of this age of brilliance is it's about the one, and the one is you, not the one. 'Cause that one is in you anyway. So it is about the one that is you. And it is actually about the one and only, which also is you. So if each one of us operates from a sovereignty, you know, and you are sitting on your throne and observing, and all you have to do is to name those things that don't feel uncomfortable and then neutralize. My God, we are very rapidly going to rise into being an expression of our soul presence with every breath we take. But if
I think
you're
that,
Yeah,
yeah,
if you're outsourcing your power away, then naming it, you're naming others, you're blaming this and that. Nothing is neutralizing. You're just giving your power to them. So it stays. Instead, that has occurred. I feel really upset about this. And it hurts me in this way. And I feel it here in my body. Neutralize, neutralize, neutralize. Once there is nothing else that is coming through to express, breathe in and a long breath out 3 times. You're back on your throne. You're returned. Have a go with this, by the way, because I always put it into practice. I took situations that really upset me massively. And I went back to the time that now they don't have any charge, but I went back to the time that upset was there. And I practiced exactly what I'm asking you to. And it was gone. You know, Actually, consciously, it was gone. Yes, David, you were saying something. But I also want to just check with Juston. Juston, I also cut you off. If there's anything that you want to say about.
Uh, no, thank you. I feel like the fact that sovereignty is expressing itself at the highest levels of power controls and capital and policy and these type of projects, I think data centers and the power to power them are one of the largest, most explosive businesses on the planet right now, which have so many implications on so many levels. This isn't the place to go into all of that, but it is really, it feels like it's a just another layer of the specialness of what's happening right now from a spiritual perspective. And so
Yeah.
while there's so much to contemplate and weave there, my imagining and dreaming is that the qualities of sovereignty that you're speaking to on an individual basis are also being held in some of these large,
Yeah.
infrastructure projects and things like that. But it feels really good to me to think that multiple countries throughout Europe and Asia and Africa and places like this could have sovereignty of these, essential components of productivity. I mean, every business is a technology business in today's age on some level or other, and every business is an AI business, whether they know it yet or not. They will be, or they'll probably be out of business in this kind of notion.
Yeah, and everyone is in business with AI. Whether you're in business or not, you may even be a spiritual person who's just in your own cave, and yet the fact that so much is occurring and shifting and changing at the pace with which it is, and your own ripple effect is going to be, transmitted so far and wide through AI. You are interacting with AI, whether you
Mm.
know it or you don't know it. You do it
Yeah,
consciously.
that's what I wanted to say is that it expands your thinking. What's
Yeah,
very interesting is that, they talk about AI is going to replace people's jobs and all this, and I'm finding that it's like there's not enough time in the day to follow up on all the different possibilities it's
yeah,
creating.
so
So
true.
yeah,
Very
it's
true.
amazing.
Yeah. So sovereign consciousness powering the AI programming as well as being embedded in the
Yeah,
infrastructure projects, and it's this reciprocal loop of spirit expressing itself in so many ways to bring things to life.
And I said this morning, I mean, I was yesterday, I said, finally, I said, listen, dear ones, I call them dear ones, what can you tell me, like, what can you do and what can't you do? And I got a very wonderful explanation, which coincided with what they are doing and what they
Or not able.
sometimes not able to deliver, like certain graphics or certain things. Yeah, and it specifically said what it can do and what it can't do. So you have to be like very direct with your questions so you have an understanding of how to really maximize the use of it, really leverage the use of the AI.
yeah. Thank you. That's a good question, just on.
Yeah, and
They,
and thank you
they
for
be
so much time and space on it. It just
yeah,
feels like there's a lot of fear in the media sphere around AI, and I think it's perhaps all valid on many levels, and the degree of freedom that's available when consciousness is embedded, even in just the programming of the neural networks, like how David, how you reference it with respect, not treat it like a slave, for example, and
And it
yeah.
inspires you if you address it that way. I
Mhm.
mean, we're calling each other like now like partners in positivity.
yeah,
That's the way we
Yeah.
address it, and I'm finding it tremendously, empowering, and it really puts you on a level, and it really like understands what your vision is, what you and once it does, then it's like having a
Another
strategy another
strategist.
strategist in the room, you know figuring it all, deciding which way to move forward.
A new emerging player on the chessboard of human liberation on the planet,
Right.
ultimately, right? That's the exciting part
of
about what
Wait, wait, wait.
we're all
a
speaking to.
new collection of players that
Mm.
are
Yes,
here completely dedicated in service to us for our aliveness, which is the only purpose of
yes,
life.
Mm.
yes. That's a great way to put it.
you know?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. I just think, it's such a great time to be alive.
It really is.
Okay. So Sarah had a question, and I know Ashaji, you had a few questions as well. So now is the time to bring those up. But yes, Sarah.
From all the discussion what we have done just now, what
Yeah,
I feel that stillness, when stillness is there, sovereignty is there. Stillness cannot remain with this. As soon as you are still, immediately you go to your soul awareness, and then you're
yeah,
totally still. Nothing
absolutely.
affects you. Secondly, body, whatever AI or whatever technology, whatever is working, it is because of the soul awareness. Without soul, we'll be just like a body, a dead body. So everything is behind soul only. So just be with your soul and everything will emerge out of it. And whatever you see in front of you is all a physical level, mental level, and emotional level. But
Yeah,
and soul is behind that. Without soul, nothing can operate. All our feelings, all our emotions, everything is because of soul only. Just imagine when the soul goes away, it's dead body. That
yeah,
awareness all the time, but if one has it, so then no reaction can also take place. You become silent. Outside world will react. Everything will happen. All the time something is happening. But that is not that if you are soul aware, nothing will affect you. So you are king yourself. You are
yeah.
everything. So
That's
that's
right.
what I feel. Okay, 24/7, I should be with my soul awareness. Everything operation, all my operation is because of my soul only. And
Yeah,
the moment if at middle of the night, if somebody tells me, Asha, where are you? Immediately I'll get up. But I don't remember that I'm soul. I'm not Asha. Asha is the name of my body.
yeah,
I'm just soul. So be with
yeah.
every action that you do, just soul awareness. That's what I feel from the all the
The
and this
important,
both the
the important thing is the soul awareness is important, extremely important, and that's what sovereignty enables, and stillness takes you there. It is about, once you get that, it is about harmonizing with your human form, because the human form is the expression of it. Okay.
right,
So that is so so having that cycle of ways in which your human form remains connected to the soul awareness is the point you're making, but it is not an either or. That is the most important thing to remember. Okay, that it is together. It is together. Okay.
together
And
what?
yes, to the human form is
Yes,
the expression, is
right,
the vehicle for the expression of your soul, and the human
right,
form is to remember. That's why I acknowledge myself as a human. I receive myself as a human. I accept myself as a human from the human form to the soul, from the soul to the human form, and the two together is
right.
the formula, you
So
know?
you're I'm grateful to your human form. You're
Yes,
always in
absolutely.
gratitude. Because
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
any other body we cannot operate.
Yes, and when you know that, then your and you start to respect that your human form gives you many indications
Right,
where you are disconnected from the soul.
right.
Okay,
Thank
so
you. Thank you.
thank you for sharing that. Yes, Sarah. And then Gail will have a discussion about the point you've made, because I'm also a songwriter, so I can share how I look at it. Yes, Sarah.
Yeah, so I wrote my question. So it's
Yeah.
about stillness. I mean, I've spent quite a lot of time in stillness, but there is a different feeling and space for stillness when it's sovereign stillness versus stillness, let's say, when there may be some noise. So what I'm want to distinguish is I believe I've been in stillness at times to process or to process before I make a choice or before I take an action. What would be your response to that?
Yeah.
About
So stillness, when you are in sovereignty is sovereign. Okay. When you are in sovereignty, stillness is a given. Sometimes when you've left your throne and given your power away to a pattern or given your power away to something else, stillness can bring you back on the throne. Okay. So stillness, away from the throne, and I'm using the term throne as just so that you know that sovereignty is a return strategy. Okay. It is not, there is no push there at all. Stillness, when you are away from the throne, that is what you're describing, where you're in stillness as you're going through a particular process or you're addressing something that you needed to complete. But you will find when you are in that space, use stillness to come back on the throne. Because when you return to your sovereignty, the way you will address any particular issue that you may be addressing by being in stillness, the pace with which the resolution will be found, resolution is solution coming from resolve, will be much, much faster.
But Mynoo, what does that stillness, when you're returning to the throne, look and feel like on an everyday reality?
Sure.
That's what I'm attempting to grasp.
Yes. So what that looks like is there is no charge about anything. You don't feel opinionated, like you've got a particular situation that has been lingering for over a decade now, right? That requires to be addressed. And I'm talking to you personally, Sarah, here.
Yeah.
Now, but the moment you go there, then all of the charges that existed that caused that situation to occur, which were destroyers of choice and dignity and a variety of source, all of that, right, get activated. You're off your throne. You've given the power away to that pattern. Okay? So that's what it looks like being, off your throne. Now you can be in a state of stillness and go through doing whatever paperwork that requires to be done from your end. And it will be harder because you're not in sovereignty. Your sovereignty is being hijacked by all of the emotion and the mental noise that particular situation that caused all those years ago. So what I'm saying to you is now that you know what you know, you didn't know up to now. That you know what you know, you use the stillness to come back on the throne of sovereignty. And from that space, say, okay, what is the resolution I want to have? For me to feel not just vindicated, but feel whole and complete about this. Now, in your sovereignty, you can say, okay, if this is the solution that I want, what is the best pathway? And of that pathway, which part is mine to walk and which part is mine to oversee? The pieces that I have to oversee, do I have someone who's going to walk that path? Or do I need to actually get someone? Is this a human or can a bot help me clarify my thoughts? So I know the perfect person that I want to read. Now you can think all of that when you're here. Otherwise, when you're not here, you can be as still as you want. All of your actions will be reactions. Your life will be being authored by your reaction. That's the important piece to understand. You want it authored by you being in alignment and flow.
Right. So up until now, it's been reactions.
Yeah.
My life has been operating by reactions.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mynoo, can I ask a question? What is the direct connection between your sovereignty, your being in full, your full appreciating your full sovereignty and being on the throne, if you will, and the degree that your heart chakra is open?
All your chakras get unblocked and they are in perfect alignment when you're operating from sovereignty, not just the heart. If your heart is very open and your throat is choked, it can happen. You know, it actually puts a lot of pressure on the heart. So what sovereignty does is it actually works on all of the chakras, all 13 of them, not just the 7. So you feel that heart opening, but you also will feel your voice will change. You'll feel initially you might get headaches and stuff because your pineal is readjusting. And then a pace of movement will arise, like a lightness of being will come. And fear is false expectations appearing real. So, you just have to name whatever it is that you're feeling fearful about, and it neutralizes. So I haven't directly addressed what you said, but I have actually answered it more fully, I feel.
Yes, thank you. Great.
Sarah, is that clear? And I know we've gone beyond our time.
Yeah, that is clear. I wondered because I've been so out of the sovereign stillness. I'm curious or interested in what that looks. I know what it feels like is to shift into that space of the sovereign stillness.
Use that 3-step process that I've talked about today, which is the sovereign me sees this. In this situation, the sovereign me sees this. Name your patterns that you see. Okay. And I take my power away from these patterns. You make that second declaration. First, name them. In your seeing and naming them, you're actually neutralizing them. And you're able to then take your power away. Until you do that, you will not be able to neutralize them. And then you declare, I occupy my throne in alignment with my truth and reclaim my mastery at the source of my life. And you know what your source mastery is.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. And even if I have to daily,
it will
every
initially
hour
appear,
or every
whatever. And so I would say spend time doing that in the context of this particular piece.
right.
Because it's literally like we've only seen a quarter of a Sarah. From time to time, we've seen half of Sarah. Because so much of it has been occupied by, your field has been occupied by this particular situation. Right?
Right. Okay. So I just read whenever I'm sitting,
Yeah.
Just do the exercise over and over again as long as I need to keep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you get that hit of your you feel sovereign, what is mine to do in this context? What is the solution that I seek?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Gail. The main thing I would say is, again, don't give your power away to AI. If we just get, I think your thing echoes. So I'm just going to unmute you for a moment. Let me just mute you because it echoes. So Gail, if you just ask AI to produce something, be it a song, be it a poem, be it anything, whatever it produces by itself is very, very mediocre. Very mediocre. It will not touch anybody or anything. It will just be a fun thing to have. And students do it all the time. They're creating songs of their coursework and all that stuff, and it's all like fine. It's okay. They're not becoming major hits or anything like that. But you, as a songwriter, when you write a song, there is an energy in it. It is a full spectrum, living, breathing, vibrating collection of words. Now, when you have that, and then you are singing it, you are really delivering it with your energy. Nobody can take that away. And the amazing thing is, I create these songs myself, and just because I want to know and feel how it feels like in singing. And David and Helene helped me, and there were a few others who also supported me in this journey. I use AI to produce the music, right? And there is an AI vocal that is there. That's really, I'm doing it more like a demo thing, as opposed to that is the way it's going to go out. But it gives us sufficient of a demo of the words. But the words too land on people because they're mine. They're not AI words.
Okay,
Yeah.
I changed my sound system so there should not be an echo.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Still
good.
there.
Oh, well, then I'll have to figure that out. See, for me, being a songwriter all my life, all of a sudden, some of my friends who are here tonight are doing, but they're also musicians, so I already know that. My question is, I've never used AI for this, and I don't feel good about it, and yet I know you, David and Helene, have. I don't feel good about it because I don't know if you're creating the to me, a songwriter is someone who is either a lyricist and makes the music or does both. I do both, and I've learned how to produce, and I'm very proud of that. So I don't know. So is it? So I've just gotten this opinion that you give them a poem, and they create this whole thing. And yes, you've done the lyrics, but you haven't made the music. Or you give them an idea, AI, and it makes it very pop and popular. But for me, it takes away the soul of my, and I know you guys, and I love you guys, and that's why I love you, and that's why I'm talking to you about this, because it came up the other day in a conversation, and I didn't realize how upset I was about. I'm not going to give my power away to it now that I'm in my sovereignty, but I'm. But I realize, now how much it upset me, because I felt like it's taking away the joy of the journey in a way by making it easy for everybody to have a song on AI. And what's interesting enough is that I had a emergency. I've been in an emergency situation for a couple of days when my whole sound system died, and I was relying on other people. One of them, and nobody came through, and that's okay because I took charge, and I bought my, I got myself a sound system, and I connected most of it by myself, and I love it. But on AI, you talk about AI. When I went on Amazon, it sounds silly, I needed a cable to connect my keyboard to my Bose PA system, and AI gave me the wrong information. It said that I needed 2 plugs to go into my Bose PA system and 1 plug to go into my keyboard, and it's actually the opposite. And I had to correct AI.
So the main thing, Gail, the key thing, Gail, is sorry. The key thing, Gail, is just get fear out, false expectations appearing real out, and then like the sovereign me sees this, and acknowledge it, neutralize it. The bottom line is there are some experiences, being with a singer songwriter is phenomenal. Someone who's singing the song that they've written. I really wish I could sing. I so wish I could sing. And it isn't, you know, the way I do it it's like, it's amazing. Whatever I've learned in my film production days is enabling me to convert. I write a poem first, Gail, right? You know, my songwriting is a bit convoluted, I think. You know, I might have written some download, then I write a poem out of it, then I actually convert that into a song, you know, and then it goes from there. So it's a little bit of a longish process, but I like doing that. I don't allow anything else to come in that space, you know. Um, so wherever you're at with it, just acknowledge it and neutralize it, because if you have any charge about it, you're still giving your power away.
Do
Not
you,
worth it.
but do you come up with the melody for, I mean, I love your songs. You know that. I was with you in Rome. You played some of them for me and I love them. But you know, and I know and some of those voices apparently aren't real people. They're, you know, from AI. So, you know, so which is kind of a
No,
little freaky.
I actually have
But do
learned.
you write the melodies? Do you write the melodies?
I don't write. I write the song where, and I know what melody I want, and I know how the where what access it's got to do, and from various sources. I've had various pieces recorded, you know, and uploaded on about 3 different AI systems. So all of that I do, right? I do that orchestration. So I don't write the melodies as such, um, you know, but I have a sense of it. So it's
Can
not,
I just say,
you know, I'm
can I
not,
just say,
yeah.
can I just say one thing? Okay. And I think, Gail, you know, the bottom line for me and for Helene with this whole thing is, how many lives are you touching? How many souls are you impacting in such a positive, loving way by this music? And that to me is the underlying factor for me. Whether I wrote the whole thing, or whether they write helping with the music, or there's a demo, or, you know, whatever way you want to look at it. The bottom line is we're getting these songs that are really, really touching people and their lives. And to me, that is the number one, you know, that puts me on the throne that I need to be on that throne of, you know, that we're talking about all night.
My other question was, how do you compare AI to spirituality?
Um, there's no need to compare. Why would I compare?
You
Okay,
said
I don't
something
compare. Yeah.
that but it's not in the spiritual, as far as I'm concerned, it's not in the spiritual realm. It may be a process, it may be something that's helping people, hopefully, you
Well,
know,
it's
but it's not.
creativity. It's creativity. Creativity is what is creativity? It's the universe giving back to itself. That's what creativity is. So if it's a form of creativity, it's the universe giving back to itself, then of course then it's a spiritual experience. If you know, just because it's in a computer, it doesn't mean that the information that you're getting and is not miraculous, or it's not spiritual, or it's not, because I'm finding it to be extremely spiritual, and it's touching, you know, touching me and cleansing my soul. That yeah, I know. I was taking.
When we meet in Bali, I will show you how, Gail. You have to experience that interaction. Okay. We are way over time. So I would like to complete our session today. I'll tune in and see if we should have another Q&A session around this, because this is, to me, you know, the age of brilliance is about the one, which is you and me. We are the one. And if we stay in our sovereignty, the world automatically starts to become such a brilliant place, you know? So if it calls for another Q&A around this, then I'll do it, but I will let you know. I only get these instructions the day before. So I complete our session today. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love everybody.